All right, well, welcome back, Raider Nation. This is Raider Sparks coming at you with another episode today. Hopefully, everybody's liking the content and the videos getting put out. So please like, share, subscribe if you would. Help grow the channel a little bit, and we'll keep putting out some more content for everybody. But from the comment section, I definitely got asked to do a sort of small school sleeper type of prospect preview for the draft. Obviously, we have the draft coming up on Thursday, so not too far away. And I'm getting pretty close to putting out my top selections for the Raiders. I was just sort of hoping to see if any trades happen, if we gain any picks between now and then. And I know it'll probably be most likely a draft day trade, but you never know. Something could happen that would change the draft board to help us prepare a little bit more. But I'm putting that all together. It should be out pretty soon. But I think you guys all probably know that the players I like the most. Put out quite a few videos of the different player prospects as far as position goes and sort of what I believe is the best fits for the Raiders and sort of based off of what the coaches' history has been with the Patriots and that type of thing. But I'll definitely put a couple more videos out. Hopefully, two more videos before the draft besides this one here and kind of get everybody fired up for the draft. I definitely am looking forward to it. And of course, all the news around Darren Waller. And I think anybody that's listening to this channel isn't too surprised by that. I actually put a video out about it a while ago on how the Raiders not only could get back up into the second round or possible first, but most likely a second round. Was to trade Darren Waller, and I gave a lot of reasons why that is. And so if you haven't checked that out, please do. It's actually it's comparing Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller and who should stay and that type of thing. So I went into quite a bit of detail there. I won't do that in this video, but I definitely don't think it's off the table for the Raiders. I definitely think it's something they are probably heavily considering at this point. It may not happen. Who knows? I'm kind of on the fence either way about it because there's so many great tight ends, and I've actually talked about that as well. If you haven't checked out my tight end video for this draft, it's I think a very deep class, especially the top probably 4 to 5 rounds. I would even say probably the top 4 rounds because they're really looking for more of a well-rounded tight end and just a dynamic offense. Obviously, that's what you want, but if you get a guy that can really solidly block, I think that's part of what they're looking for. But there's plenty of guys that are multifaceted that could do everything in the draft. So if we did have to move on from Darren Waller, I don't think it's the end of the world. I would love to see them play all together, though. I won't lie; it'd be great to see Waller out there with Renfro and Adams and Carr and all that. So wouldn't lie about that. But anyways, let's get into the small school sleepers. I did want to point out that saw an interesting stat on, and I'd be kind of curious to see what happens this year. But typically, at a non-COVID year, around 50 players that don't get combine invites get drafted, or about like 20% of the draft is non-combine invite guys. But during COVID, that changed. It went to no combine invite. Only 20 players in 2021 were drafted. So that's about 7.7% of the draft. So kind of interesting. So I don't know if we're still in a COVID year or not for the NFL purposes. So it should be interesting because some of the guys I have on here received combine invites, but not many of them. A lot of them didn't receive the combine invites. So we'll see if they actually get drafted. But this could kind of go to the UDFA as well. And some of these, I'll be honest with you, are very much a stretch to get drafted, even to make a roster. But just some interesting guys that I found throughout sort of reading about different stuff. And a lot of these guys you've heard of. But anyways, let's get into it. So what I did was I went to Walter's draft again. Um, I went 222 and above, so seventh round and above. So seventh round guys, UDFA guys. And when I did this, he hadn't even put out his seventh round yet. So anybody that wasn't in there, actually, you know what? On this, I used the consensus. Sorry about that. I used the consensus draft because he didn't have Walter didn't have his 7th round yet, so I didn't know what that would look like. So I went ahead and used the consensus. So anybody that's 222 or above or higher, so that's the 7th round, 222 and up, is the guys that I looked at. So the first guy I looked at, and I'm going to do this by position group. So and I went heavy on cornerbacks because that's who we've brought in the most. To my count, I believe we had at least 10 cornerbacks, maybe up to 12 cornerbacks come in for the visits. So that's a significant part of the top 30 visits. So the first guy I did was out of Missouri Western, and he's really climbing up boards. And all these guys have a common theme. They're climbing up the census boards a lot. But Sam Webb, Definitely a guy that did well at the the East West Shrine Bowl game. It fits into the mold. Consensus has him at 331. The last one that I looked at, he's 6 foot and a half, which is exactly what Stephen Gilmore is. 202, 32 and a eighth inch arms, 448 40. So not the blazing speed, but a 6'9" 3 count, which is good, and a 418 short shuttle. 14 on the bench press, but very explosive. 42.5 vert, which is awesome, and 11-foot 4 inch broad jump, which is fantastic as well. He's an outside man-to-man type cover cornerback who can play in the inside, and good special teamers as well. So all these guys are special teams guys. So definitely a guy that can definitely get it done on man to man, which is what we're looking for. He's got good size, good length, very explosive. Doesn't necessarily have the straight line speed as some of the other guys, but still acceptable. And his agility drills, he's actually pretty good. And 14 bench for the quarterback is actually good too. So very, very solid player all around. So the next guy we'll take a look at is Deron Bland out of Fresno State. I had to get a Fresno State guy in there since we got Carr and Adams now, but a little longer quarterback, little taller than normally would get. 6'2", but 203, 4'4", 40, which is solid for especially for that size. You can see he's a big guy, and 7.213 cone, which is not the best, but it's fine. 415 short shuttle, which is good. 35.5 vert and a 10.3 broad jump, 14 bench press as well. 32 and a quarter inch arms with a 76-inch wingspan. So he's real sticky coverage, man to man guy. Um, so, anyways, he has very good tape against some good NFL quality type receivers, that are going to get drafted. Romeo Dobbs, he did well. Kyle Phillips, Khalil Shakir. And so Phillips and Shakir, those are both like slot guys, right? So he has the ability to be able to match up with those guys, but Romeo Dobbs is a straight up, outside X receiver, speed receiver. He's one of the fastest guys at the Senior Bowl, and he matched up well with him too. In fact, Bland only gave up 19% completion rate with passes 10 yards or more, so he's a solid cornerback and a man-to-man guy, somebody that could come in for sure and attempt to make the squad for us as well. So one guy, definitely a guy to sort of keep an eye out. They have him rated at 398 right now, but again, all these guys, the four cornerbacks that I have are moving up draft boards, and actually they're both getting visits as well. So NFL teams are taking notice of these guys. So the next guy is Bryce Watts out of UMass. He actually played a little bit at Virginia Tech as well. Actually, might have played it too, but I definitely Virginia Tech. 6'1", 187. So, I kind of like the cornerbacks closer to 200, but I mean, 187 is fine, totally acceptable. J.C. Jackson was about that size. So, but anyways, 4.39 40 was really good. 1.49 10 split, awesome. 37.5 vertical. Pro comp is Jameer Alexander from Green Bay. So that's nothing wrong with that. He's ranked 394 right now. So definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Very confident player. I watched some of his tape, not tape, but just highlights of YouTube, whatever. Just plays with a significant confidence, which is what you like out of your cornerback. So definitely somebody to keep an eye on for the Raiders. He excels in man-to-man coverage, so that's something that we're definitely looking for. And then the fourth quarterback I have on here, and I went heavy on quarterbacks just because of the amount of visits we've had, is Samuel Womack out of Toledo, 5'10", 187. He's 373 on the consensus, 4'4", 40, 36 vert, 9 foot 10 inch broad jump. So not quite as explosive as the other guys, but a 4.18 short shuttle and a 6.87 3 cone, which is really good. He had 15 pass breakups and 2 interceptions last year, 39 pass breakups in his career. So shows the ability to be around the ball and definitely a man-to-man guy. I know there are several teams. Last I looked, I think there were 4 or 5 teams that he's got visits from. So I think some NFL teams are certainly taking notice of Samuel Womack as well. So those are the 4 cornerbacks that I thought we would highlight today. Sam Webb, Deron Bland, Bryce Watts, and Samuel Womack. And I'm draft day. I'm just going to see if these guys get drafted, where they get drafted at. And if they don't, then we're going to definitely put them on the priority UDFA list and hope the Raiders can pick one of them or a couple of them up, because I know we're going to go heavy on cornerbacks definitely getting at least one, maybe two in the draft, and then UDFA will definitely gonna target the position, I'm sure. And then I got two safeties on here. One's a free safety and more of a, and then the other's kind of a do-it-all safety. But I guess Tyrese Stedman is both out of Idaho. So yeah, so he played in the Cajun Bowl and did a good job there. He's 6'1", 196. So if he wants to play more in the box, get a little heavier, but he's still okay. I mean, Deron Harmon's about that. But a 39-inch vert and a 10-10 broad jump. We were awesome, right? So very explosive athlete, and something that we should really consider. I should mention out of all the guys I've mentioned so far, the only one that's gotten a combine invite was Sam Webb. And so if you keep in mind the stats that I gave earlier about the non-COVID year and the COVID year, who gets drafted, at either 20% or at 7.7%. That could be a factor for some of these guys as well. So Tyrese Dedmon, though, solid player. His pro comp is Marcus Williams, which is, I mean, in itself would be great. Solid tackler, breaks on the ball. He's explosive, and possibly somebody for the Raiders to keep an eye on with our split safeties. I like our safeties right now. I would have no problem going in with Deron Harmon as our strong safety, kind of up there, and then Gillespie and Mooring on the back end would be great. Again, I'm of the belief that Abrams on the trade block. I also think Mullins on the trade block. Meek Robertson's on the trade block. I think all of those guys are definitely tradable in the draft, and I think there's some heavy talent that we can bring in to help compete. We've already done that with the cornerback spot, and I guess safety as well because we brought in Harmon. So I mean, and I think Divine Diablo, if we're taking a serious look at corner at safety, I think he's going to go back to his natural position and play a strong safety type role. My personal thought. But anyways, because the linebackers that Patrick Graham uses are in that 245 to 250 range or even heavier. And if you look at the guys we brought in, they're exactly that size. So I mean, it's kind of the way it is. I mean, so but we'll see. And then the other safety I wanted to take a look at was Will Adams out of Virginia State. Extremely athletic player. You can see I put his metrics up here because it's really good, especially if you look at the explosive numbers. And the agility is good. So I mean, we're not talking about a strong safety type that can play deep as well, but you want that explosiveness in your safety. The agility is good, which is why he's a safety, not a cornerback. Straight line speed isn't as great, a 4.57, but that's totally fine for safety. The rest of it's all really good, but he's a hard hitter. His 4.57 is explosive, 40 and a half vert, 10.3 broad jump. He repped 21 times. So he's super strong. His 10 is 1.6. I mean, that's solid. There's nothing wrong with that. A 4.14 short shuttle, which is really good. But a 6.88 three cone as well. So for our safeties, that's really good. They have him at 4.29 on the consensus, but I mean, he's moving up the ranks as well. So I would definitely want to try him out, at least as a UDFA. Solid player. And so those are my two safeties. Then the next I went to, and I know they brought in a lot of tight ends. Six, I think it's the last count I had. Mitchell Rentz had six tight ends coming in for visits. But when we get way into the draft, like the outside the seventh round, I couldn't find too many. So we're gonna go into the defensive line because there's some there. Eric Johnson, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. I have him on this list. What is a surprise to me is that the consensus has him at only 224. And in some of my comments had him some maybe off-field stuff, but I couldn't find anything to any stories about it. So if anybody has anything like that, let me know. But he's one of my favorite players in the draft. He was at the combine, so out of Missouri State. I would love to have him on the team because he can play up and down the line. Look at him; he's a beast, man. He's 6'4", 302, 87-inch wingspan, 34.5-inch arms, 10-inch hands, just a stud. He could be that big defensive end. He could play the D tackle spot. He could even play knows if you want him to, but I'd keep him out at the end and tackle spot. 4.8, 4.40 was the third fastest for defensive tackles at the combine. Um, just incredible player. So he went NFLPA Bowl, and then he got moved up to the Senior Bowl and just didn't look back from there. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I would love the Raiders to draft him. I think he'd be a great pick. The next guy is total stretch. If he get drafted or anything else, but Ralph Hawley. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he does. He's out of Western Michigan, but as a 40, he was at the Hula Bowl. and he's not even rated on the consensus board. But he had a 4.99 or 4.89 at a 30 vert, 4.67 short shuttle, 8.8 broad jump, 7.53 three cone, 7.67 three cone, so or short shuttle. Anyways, he's got a lot of quickness and a lot of speed, and it shows on tape. He had 39 tackles last year, 26 solos, 6 sacks. Um, they played him at 0 and 1 tech. 6'1". He's played at like 285, but he's up to like 295 now. The reason I have him on here, so I'll just get to. So he had 138 tackles in his career, 77 solo, 45 and a half tackles for loss, 19 and a half sacks. And he had some pass breakups as well. But my opinion is they were playing him in the wrong position. With his size, he should be a 3-4 defensive end, and he's quick. If anybody gets a chance to watch him a little bit, especially the Hula Bowl, you see his helmet, the backfield a lot. And they started moving him outside a little bit. He's super quick. I don't know why. What holds him back a little bit, I think, is his length. Right, he doesn't have the long length of the arms, and he doesn't have the true size. But I mean, Aaron Donald doesn't either. Um, but when you have quicks like he does, like this guy does have, and 45 and a half tackles for loss is solid, being an undersized playing nose tackle. So imagine what he can do with some coaching and get him outside a little bit more and get him some more one-on-one matchups, which is positions I think we would put him in. I think it's worth a shot, at least at UDFA, to bring him in and see what he can do. It's not ideal size and length, I understand that, but the quicks are there. There's enough, I think, to work with to at least give him a look. So there you go. That is Ralph Hawley out of Western Michigan. A big time sleeper for me. Next one is Jordan Jackson, who got a lot of buzz. Actually did get a combine invite, but he was hurt even as he was hurt for the combine cell. But massive dude. Look at him. He's 6'4", 294. I mean, he could probably go up into the 300s, no problem with his frame. 34-inch arms, 82 and 5/8 wingspan. So he just needs to get a little stronger. He's 18 reps, which is fine for that wingspan, but I mean he could definitely get a little stronger. But the 40 is solid, 4.96. He's at 5'11 on the consensus, but I don't get that. I think it's because of the injuries. I think that's held him back. But his 10 split is 176. His vert was 30.5. Broad jump 9.4. 20 was 440, and his three cone was 720. He's very athletic. 24 solo tackles last year, 6 sacks. 39 total tackles and 11 tackles for loss. He's a solid player. Got the invite. Just unfortunately had the injuries, so we'll see how much that sets him back. But again, it's definitely somebody that we should take a look at, I would think. And a solid player. So, anyways, he's out of Air Force. You can see that on the screen there. So, and the last defensive tackle is the Demarius Taylor out of App State, 6'1", 290. So again, not the ideal height, but can definitely play defensive end for us. Doesn't have quite the length, 76 wingspan, but had 27 reps, so he's strong. 510 on the consensus, but primarily a lot of that is his tackling ability. He's more of a pass rush defensive lineman than a tackler, that type of thing, which sort of holds him back. But I think some of it's some coaching, I think, is probably what's needed here. But the athletic profile is amazing. 4.96, 40, 30 vert. Only 8'10 broad jump, so he's not as explosive, but just a 1.69, 10 split's really good. And so it's somebody that is in 2021, he had 10.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 25 career sacks on the defensive line. I mean, this is a guy you take a shot at with that athletic profile. Yeah, he may not be the best tackler, but I think it's somebody you can probably work on. And I would definitely give him a shot here. He did play in the Hula Bowl, so if you wanted to check him out there, you certainly could do that. And actually, you know what? I do have another defensive lineman. My bad. And I've talked about it on the show before, but it's Dion Novel. The reason a lot of you Noah Ellis is higher, just so you guys know, and I'm a little worried with Noah Ellis because of the amount Ziegler talked about with sort of the academic part of it or the learning part of it. He had some struggles with passing classes, and I'm sure a lot of guys do, but unfortunately, it was talked about with him for whatever reason. So I'm not sure. I even made a show about it. I don't really care about my nose tackle, their academics, but Ziegler made it a big point of emphasis during his talk the other day about being able to retain information, being able to do good basically in the classroom. So we'll see if that eliminates Noah Ellis from our draft. But Dion Novel out of North Texas, 379 on the consensus, played the or didn't play in the Hulu Bowl, but he was asked to go to the Hulu Bowl. Definitely athletic, 5'18", 40, but 29 and a half vert, which is good. 5 short shuttle, 7.973 cone, and a 9 broad jump, which is good for a guy that size. 27 reps, so he's super strong. The thing I like most about him was the fact that, well, one, he's got 80-inch wingspan, which helps, but he played 1 year, 2020, at 330 pounds. He had 38 tackles, playing mainly 1 and 0 technique. 8.5 tackles for loss from that position, 2.5 sacks. And so definitely just a run stopper, power, but that many tackles for loss is super good. But then they got a new D coordinator in 2021. They asked him to lose weight, and he did. He went down to like 301. Ended up with 49 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks. So he's a versatile defender. So however we would want to play him, he could be a run stuffer if we want him to get back to that 330 mark. Super powerful dude, but still has the quicks to get in the backfield. Or we can keep him slimmed down, let him go up and down the line like a lot of the linemen would want to do, like we might want to have him to do. But he's a pretty flexible player, pretty versatile, good at decent athletic profile at 303, but he shows the ability to be able to play multiple positions, be able to go up and down with his weight to kind of play the position we need him to play. So I thought it was somebody worth taking a look at least for the Raiders. And the next guy, and I've highlighted him on the show before. He actually had a combine invite, is Isaiah Weston. I think the Raiders are strongly looking for a receiver that's long, lengthy, fast, athletic. Take the top off of defense. And that's exactly what Isaiah Weston is. He's 249 on the big board, Northern Iowa kid, 6'3 and a half, 214, 32.5-inch arms, 78 wingspan. So he's got that. He's my number 18 overall receiver. If you guys remember that video I did, I ranked the 45 top receivers, and he came out at 18 for me. He had a 4.42 40, so not quite like Christian Watson and that type of thing. I think that's one of the guys that they're really eyeing. But Isaiah's definitely got some speed to him, but super athletic profile. On the RAS score, he scored 9.99 out of 10, which ranked him third out of 2,613 wide receivers. So from 87 to 2022, he's the third best all-time RAS. So explosive athlete. He has a 1.55-10 split, a 40-inch vert, 11.3 broad jump. Hula Bowl and NFLPA Bowl guy, 20 reps on the bench. So he's strong, so he'll be able to handle man press, especially with that 10 split. 41 games, 109 catches, 2,408 yards, but 22.6 average. That's what we need. We need a guy to threaten. He gets yak as well. 2021, he had 37 receptions, 883 yards, and 5 TDs. 2019, 43 receptions, 1,033 yards, 10 TDs, second team All American, and then just an explosive athlete, long, fast, can threaten deep, and it's definitely somebody I think the Raiders could definitely have an eye on. So if we miss out on a couple of the receivers early in the draft, then maybe we go to him a little bit later in the draft. So, anyways, then I told you I wanted to get some more tight ends, but this late in the draft, Amari Rogers, who I believe came in for a visit actually, and I've highlighted him on the show here before in the Shrine Bowl, I think, or the NFLPA. I think it was Shrine Bowl out of Ohio. He basically was a quarterback in college. They sent him there and said, "Yep, you're going to be a tight end," and he turned head, 6'5", 226, so he's got to gain weight if he's going to play tight end. But the 40 was 4.41, 1.55, 10 split, 2.89, 20, 36 for 10 and a half, broad jump, 16 reps. his RAS score compared to Waller. So I had to put him on here just for that reason alone, just as Waller's in the news about the trade and all that. But he's a former quarterback, so he should understand routes, things like that. But he's super athletic. Just needs to add weight if we're going to make him a tight end. If we're going to try to replace Waller with a pass catching tight end, this could be a guy to do it with, especially late in the draft or undrafted, that type of thing. So keep an eye on that. I did want to put on here Ogletree from Youngstown State as a tight end, a 6'7" guy, but he just doesn't block well enough to be that. He's a good offensive threat. He played the hula ball, I believe, or the shrine ball. I forget which one, but I didn't include him. I should have. But his blocking ability just wasn't there. But at 6'7", I think he's got the tools to do it. So if you guys want to go check him out, let me know what you think about Ogletree from Youngstown State. Maybe he should have been on here. I don't know. Uh, and there's just a couple more guys to sort of round out the small school guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Please comment, share, subscribe. Let me know who your small school, like total UDFA or seventh round guys that maybe the Raiders could sneak in and get, that type of thing. But Eric Barrier out of Eastern Washington, 6'1", 210. To me, he's the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes in the draft. He makes all the crazy off balance throws, scrambles. He can run. He's got a good enough arm to compete. He doesn't have Mahomes' arm, which is probably why he's not being talked about hardly at all. But two-time MVP in his conference. Just incredible athletic performer, and somebody I think, if we're going to take a shot on a guy, when I take a shot on a more modern type quarterback, and get somebody like this that can make all of the throws, can run, scramble. He could actually probably go in and play a little bit if we wanted to do like a Mariota type role for him initially, and then just have him there as a backup because you never know. But anyways, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time because I did a whole segment on him before. If you haven't seen it, go check out my quarterback segment. He's on there. So it was just a guy to consider. And then Isaiah Pacheco out of Rutgers. He's 250 on the consensus board. But I mean, if we're gonna go somebody, he's the perfect size, 5'10", 216, right? But he has a 4.37 40. God, that's amazing for running back at that size. 33 vert, 911 broad jump, so he's got some explosion to his game. Didn't have great stats at Rutgers, I wouldn't say, but he did have a combine invite. Played the Hula Bowl and the Shrine Bowl, played well. So yeah, definitely somebody to keep an eye on. But he can be a 3 down back. He's got the ability to pass block, to catch. He's shown the ability to do all that in college, and he's got that speed. So he's somebody that, I mean, if you're looking at somebody undrafted or seventh round, and we want to try to get somebody in there to help take the load off some of the other guys, if we're not sure of Ragus, or if we are thinking maybe we want to get somebody in the building to compete with, or to maybe take in Jacob spots in a year, then maybe that's the guy to go with. So Isaiah Pacheco out of Rutgers. And then Jason Poe, who I just recently highlighted. He's 481 on the board. Uh, Solid player. 6'2". He fits the mold. Is like 300 pounds. 495 40 though. 752 3 cone. 452 short shuttle. 111 inches on the broad jump. 31 and a half vert. 34 bench press. So he's super strong. He fits the profile for a interior offensive lineman, for at least what the Patriots did. I'm not sure what we're doing. We brought in some big guys that played tackle, project to guard. I'm not sure if we're bringing him in for tackle or for guard. It'd definitely be a different approach for some of the guys we've brought in, like Jeremy Salyer. That would be a different approach than what the Patriots did. Jason Poe, however, would be exactly what the Patriots would do. Is a perfect size for what they would do, and has that athletic profile as well. And then finally, Ryan Vandemark, he's actually been talked to. I think Graf had him as one of his draft selections. But anyways, Shrine Game guy did not get a combine invite. They have him at 332 out of UConn, 6'6", 307. So this would be a departure though for the Patriots. Obviously they like the bigger tackles, who they brought in. Some guys that are over the 320 mark. Um, and so, but he's only 307, but 6'6". I'm sure he could gain weight. 5'18", 40, which is okay for that size. A little concerning is the knees. I don't know. 175, 10 split, 24 reps. So he's got some strength to him. 30.5 vert, 10.2 broad jump. Athletic RAS score 9.45 out of 10. So he's very athletic. And so if I think he would be more of a swing tackle because typically the Patriots be an athletic left tackle, which we have in Colton Miller, which is fine, and then a very big, large human being at right tackle. Trent Brown, that type of Marcus Cannon. For the Patriots. And so, and obviously, we brought back a Luminor and Brandon Parker, who's a big dude himself. So that's what I always said. Leatherwood, if they have him at tackle, they're going to have him add 10 to 15 pounds to go out there and play that position. So this would be a little bit of a departure if we brought Vandemark in to play our right tackle spot, but you never know. If we go more modern style, where we're bringing more athletic right tackles as well, he could be the guy. You never know. So, anyways, that's my small school sleeper guys. Some of the guys have combine invites, most don't. Just some notable guys that I thought we should probably maybe pay attention to, especially if they're not drafted. When we get to that point, to kind of look at some UDFA guys. So, anyways, hopefully you like the video. Please share, subscribe, comment. Want to know who your small school guys are? Take a look at the consensus big board. Anybody 220 or higher? Take a look at those guys. Let me know who you like out of that group. And anyways, this is Raider Sparks. You guys have a great night. Draft is coming up on Thursday. Look for a couple more videos from me to put out some more video content or some more content about who I think will be great draft fits for the Raiders. And we will talk to you next time.